Yetta, should I be committed?
Always.
Moving forward with the Dekker Team. Moving forward together with the Dekker Team.
So we're excited to welcome you actually to another episode of Life's Inside Track. I'm Yetta Dekker.
And I'm Ken Dekker.
And we share techniques, thoughts, tips, and tools that we all need. We all deserve, you, I, everyone. So we get to turn our house into home, our families thrive, and we live the best life possible. We're going to consider, what does commitment have to do with integrity?
That's a great question, isn't it?
I know, a super question. I want to know the answer.
Well, I think they're like hand in glove, because if you haven't made a commitment, how can you be out of integrity?
Well, my wonder is, what of the commitments to yourself?
Then you're out of integrity with yourself.
Is that a big deal?
Yes,
Okay.
it can be.
Okay.
Can be almost worse.
It can
How's
be
that?
actually.
How's
It can
that?
be worse,
Yeah.
actually. And I think oftentimes we put, well, outwardly at least, I think I'm going to say, we put less emphasis on staying in integrity with ourselves. And it's not just about doing the right thing.
Mm-hmm.
It's about doing what I intended to do.
So let's go there. What's the definition of integrity?
Well, I know what mine is,
Yeah,
but
what's
I don't
yours?
think
Come on.
mine's in the dictionary.
Well, that's good. Let's hear what
Okay.
because you know what? Everybody may have a slightly different definition, and so it's important to understand.
Or a different connection to integrity.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So mine is, first is do the right thing. That's one aspect.
Okay.
The other aspect is do what I say I'm going to do, but also do what I intend to do,
Okay.
and do it whether anybody is watching or not.
Okay.
Okay, that's where I'm going to stop right now.
All right.
You got more to say. Clearly,
Yeah.
I can tell by your attitude and your tone. Can you guys tell by his attitude and his tone that there was a specific answer he was looking for?
No, I
But he
love
didn't
your
set
I
me
love
up?
your answer. And one of the issues with your first answer was do the right thing.
Yeah.
But the right thing may have different interpretations to different people.
True.
So I love your second definition, which was do what you said you will do.
Mm-hmm.
Because then whether you've said it to yourself or you've said it to others, it's what you said you will do. So then being integrity means you do that. Now, also, by the time you said you would do it by.
Correct. Or fess
Or-
up
And
when you
communicate.
mess up.
Yeah, and communicate that you won't be able to meet that deadline.
Mhm.
You're going to do it at a different timeline. Or maybe things have changed and you're not going to do it at all. But the whole thing is around integrity. Integrity is doing what you said you would do by the time you said you would do it.
Right. And interesting, when I think about clients, which is often where I go because we've spent the last, almost 35 years for me,
Mhm.
working with clients and having interactions with, I would say, in of excess of 5,000 different individuals that we've either worked with or potentially interviewed with to work with. It's
Mhm.
not just the over 3,117 we've worked with. It's all the others that maybe we haven't worked with. I hate to think that it's more like 10,000. That's the reality, right?
Yeah, there's some we haven't worked with. Yeah.
Right. And so when I know I'm going to be late for an appointment, there's a couple of things I do. I actually build in most of the time a buffer. I will be there 15 minutes either side of 3:00 so that I have built in to stay in integrity, regardless of whether I'm there at 10 to or I'm there at quarter after. And so building my life so that I can stay in integrity easier is one of the things I've done with clients for sure.
That's
Now, if
interesting.
it's a showing, I can't necessarily do that. I can't say, but I can do that for a seller interview or a seller consultation.
Mhm.
I can't necessarily do that when I'm doing a showing because right now, a lot of times we can only be in a house for 15 to 30 minutes. So you can't afford to be anything but early. Right.
Yeah.
So I love Vince
So
Lombardi's
you put
thing.
the
If you're
buffer
not
in on the
right,
front end.
you put your buffer in on the front end. If you're not 15 minutes early, you're not on time. I would say if you're not 5 minutes early, you're not on time. So it's a different time frame, but it's still the concept of building in extra bonus time margin, as I call it.
Right.
And then if I have a seller consultation and I see the GPS or even a buyer showing and I'm going to be 4 minutes after, I will phone them. I will either text or phone or both to say, hey, I said 3 o'clock. It looks like about 5 after 3. And trust that'll be okay. You can go for a walk on the street and then usually I get back, well, I'll be there about 8 after. It's like, okay, perfect. Well, we're in good shape. But fessing up when I do get the timeline wrong has gone a long way.
Yeah. So what I've found is you can also make those commitments to yourself. And some people call them boundaries, right? And so it may be something like, I'm not going to go out late at night or something, right? Or I'm not going to allow that person to treat me that way, or I'm not. So you set up a commitment to yourself. And then when you allow something to happen or allow somebody else to move the agenda, then you're out of integrity with yourself, even though you didn't tell somebody else, hey, I commit to you that I'll do X, Y, and Z, but you've said to yourself, I have a boundary. And when you break that boundary, you're out of integrity.
Right.
Yeah, so it's interesting. And then what I think is in relationships, they fail frequently or are dysfunctional when we're out of integrity, either when we break our commitment, either to ourselves or to the other person. And that's blows up relationships all the time.
Well, the example or the thing that I've lived a lot, and it usually by somebody, and I've been down the road, so in the past I would do this a lot. I don't do this very often anymore, is make a commitment because I really want to maybe finish a project at a certain time or put in the extra hours on a weekend or show up to install the sign early 3 days before it's necessary or whatever. I want to do something in advance of it being needed and in advance of being asked, or maybe something beyond my job description. So best intentions, but then I don't follow through. So as soon as you've made that commitment, either to yourself or out loud, you're out of integrity, even though it was a really kind gesture and it was like, I want to please, I want to do good. You actually do more harm than good.
Right.
It hurts.
Yes. Hurts yourself.
And it
then
hurts
you start
other people.
beating yourself up. And
that too.
And here's the issue. If you beat yourself up, if you recommit, you make a different decision, there's a consequence for not keeping your integrity or your commitment. That's great. But if by chance you just go, oh, whatever. Okay, let's say you're committed to running every day. And then a day goes by and you didn't run. And you think, oh, I should have run. And the next day goes by and you don't run. Well, eventually what happens is your subconscious says, you're not really committed to running. So it's no big deal. So it's okay if we miss future commitments around running. And so the subconscious will start to do that. And then you start losing control of reality, really.
Yeah, really. And on page 281 of Life X, we're going to go a little bit deeper into the whole concept of commitment. So if you want to dig into that and you want to get a fresh copy as soon as it comes out, send us an email with the title, Life X, and then together@dekkerteam.com, and we will make sure we get you on the list.
That's for sure. We're grateful to be your partners moving forward in wealth, wisdom, and worth.
Moving forward with the Dekker Team. Moving forward together with the Dekker